Lesson 1. Percents, decimals, and fractions. A group of 6th grade students went on a field trip to the Hermitage. Of the 100 students on the trip, 23 fell asleep on the bus. What percent of the students fell asleep? Percent is how many out of 100. So since there were 23 students out of 100 that fell asleep, we would say this is 23% of the students that fell asleep. Now, we can take a percent and write it as a fraction or a decimal. Since percent is how many out of 100, we can just take the percent and put it over 100. Now we can turn that into a decimal. Now, if you're not sure how to do that, you can just do it on your calculator. So type in 27 divided by 100. The default setting on your calculator is to write it as a decimal. So when you hit enter, it will give you the decimal equivalent. So let's practice going from one to the other. Now, if you have a decimal, to change it into a percent, all you have to do is move the decimal 2 places to the right. So 0.15 as a percent, move the decimal 2 places to the right. So that would be 15%. So if we want to go from a percent to a decimal, we're going to go the opposite way. So we would take the decimal and move it 2 places to the left. If you don't have enough places, you're going to need to add zeros. So decimal to percent, move the decimal 2 places to the right. Percent to decimal, move the decimal 2 places to the left. And remember, if you don't have 2 places, you have to add zeros. Decimal to percent, move the decimal 2 places to the right. Percent to decimal, move the decimal 2 places to the left. Now, if you don't have a decimal, it's understood to be at the end. So a little bit more practice. This time, let's add a fraction column to our table. Now, this is what a type of table you may see in your homework or on a test, that you have to fill in what's missing. So percent to decimal, you move the decimal 2 places to the left. Remember, if there's not a decimal, it's understood to be at the end. To turn that into a fraction, the easiest way to do that is just to type 0.56 into your calculator. The default setting on your calculator is to do a decimal. So when you hit enter, it's just going to give you the decimal. So to turn it into a fraction, you're going to hit math, enter, enter, and it will turn it into a fraction for you. Now, you always want to reduce fractions as much as possible, which your calculator will do for you. So if you're giving a fraction and you want to turn it into a decimal, top divided by bottom, that will turn it into a decimal. And then you can just move the decimal 2 places to the right to turn it into a percent. So decimal to a percent, move the decimal 2 places to the right. And again, if you don't have that many places, you're going to have to add some zeros. To turn it into a fraction, just type in 4.7, math, enter, enter. And it'll turn it into a fraction for you, and it will reduce that fraction. So fraction to decimal, top divided by bottom. Then move the decimal 2 places to the right. Percent to decimal, there's no decimal, so it's understood to be at the end. So we're going to move the decimal 2 places to the left. Type 2.4 into your calculator. Hit math, enter, enter, and it'll turn it into a reduced fraction for you. Decimal to percent, move the decimal 2 places to the right. Be sure you add your percent symbol. Type 0.475 in your calculator, hit math, enter, enter, and it'll turn it into a fraction for you. So let's look at some applications. What's the amount of sales tax on a computer priced for $549 if the sales tax rate is 9.5%? So we're looking for 9.5% of $549. That gives us just the tax. Well, we can't put percents in our calculator, so what you have to do is turn it into a decimal. So move the decimal 2 places to the left. So 0.095 times, the little asterisk means times. We tend to not use the little X times symbol in algebra anymore because it can be confusing with an X, or you might see a dot there. Okay, so if you multiply 0.095 times 549 on your calculator, that will give you the tax. Now, money is always 2 decimal places. So we always want to round to 2 decimal places. So look at the third decimal place. If that's 5 or more, we're going to round the second place up. If it's 4 or less, we're going to leave it the way it is. So since the third decimal place was 5, we're going to round that up to 6. So my sales tax would be $52.16. Amy's shopping for a new couch. The one that she likes is regularly $450, but they're having a 30% off sale. So we want to find the amount of the discount, and then let's find the sale price. So again, your calculator will not do percent, so you have to turn it into a decimal. So if there's not a decimal, it's understood to be at the end. Move your decimal 2 places to the left to turn it into a decimal. Now 0.3 or 0.30, same thing, times 450, that's going to give you the discount. Now, a discount makes the price go down. So to make the price go down, we would subtract. So we're going to take the discount and subtract it from the regular price, and that'll give us the sale price. All right, so go to My Open Math and do the homework for lesson 1.